Hello YouTube, I am coming to you from the inside of my stripped out 1977 Airstream Argosy 28 motorhome. I bought it 2 weeks ago tomorrow with the intention of, well, initially just using it and having a good time and getting motorhome experience and getting an idea of what I would want in the future to do to an Airstream or, some such motorhome. And lo and behold, on my way home, just like about a 45-mile trip, I was within about 5 miles of my house and the motorhome just died. Here is the heart of the matter and the cause of massive amounts of frustration for me in the last 2 weeks. The front end of the engine with no timing chain. When a timing chain goes out, your engine goes out. And hopefully, cross my fingers, not catastrophically, and we'll put the timing chain back in and it will fire up and I'll have a usable RV. This is the crank gear that broke. We literally have no idea what caused that to break so bad, considering this is, aluminum. Oops. Considering that's aluminum and plastic, whatever caused something to bind up or fail, you would have thought would have really destroyed that before it destroyed this steel crank gear. Well, that's not what happened, so. Got it towed to my driveway, and I proceeded to take my brand new to me motorhome apart to, one, diagnose and repair the engine, and then two, while it's down for that, I thought, what the heck, as I was inside, just kind of getting the feel for things inside, I realized that, there's no time like the present. I want to make this thing as awesome as I can. The intent is to turn it into a tiny home. While it's more than an actual Chevy Express van, it's still, it's 28 feet. Interior dimensions are about, I would say, probably 25 feet by 7.5 feet wide. So still small by most respect, but bigger than a van. So yeah, here I am, completely new to Airstreams, completely new to the construction method of them, ripping it apart, learning as I go. Air forums online is great. Cheap RV Living is another resource that I found that there's a lot of really helpful people help me through some stuff. But mostly, when it comes to Airstreams, there's just a lot of pictures of really cool artsy builds that, one, I'm not sure if they're really practical for moving, on a frequent basis, and two, they don't really show you how they got there, and that's some of the stuff I'm struggling with. And also, maybe they know better than me when they picked up their Airstream, what they were looking for when they bought one. But not that I'm impulsive, but I sort of found this one close to me and I sprung on it, maybe too fast, but now I'm finding the interior is just sort of in a state that somebody repaired it in the past, and now I'm having to undo their repairs, and sometimes that's harder than just doing the initial deconstruction of something when somebody else cobbles together some kind of a repair. But I think we're getting somewhere. I'm figuring some things out, making some progress, and that progress is what I want to put on YouTube to show people maybe some of the things that I'm not finding, and maybe it's out there. And I'm not trying to be the next latest greatest YouTube star, but gosh, I love YouTube. I love being able to just find somebody that's had a problem that I've had. They show me the steps, and it's just a great resource and great entertainment. I've just consumed basically YouTube for my entire existence, posting nothing, and now I think that I'm in a position that I can maybe contribute. I know there's a lot of people interested in Airstreams, and I know a lot of people are trying to do their own rebuilds because that's the affordable way to do it. And just adding, maybe I can show somebody something that somebody else hasn't already put on YouTube. Maybe that's unlikely, but you know, I'm gonna give it a whirl. So yeah, so found out when I got home the timing chain on the engine, and it's a 454 big block Chevy V8. The timing chain had, well, it was actually the gear on the crankshaft, part of the timing set that broke, and you know, I just lost power that way. So we haven't fixed it yet. Luckily, I have a dad who's a career GM mechanic, so you know, I've got that resource going for me. I think I could have done it on my own, but gosh, it's once again YouTube or resources, people that are experts in their field are just wonderful to have around. So I have him helping me through the repair of that, and hopefully in a week we should hear this thing fire up again. But then in the meantime, I started deconstructing the interior, which actually was sort of necessary for me to get to the engine, and that's something that I haven't seen on YouTube. No one else showed me that, probably because most people aren't doing an engine repair while they decide to do an interior renovation. But there's something that was very useful that prevented me from having to pull the engine out of the coach to do what is actually a simple repair, to put it back in and then, you know, have a working engine. So that's something I want to show you. So this is kind of an odd shot, but one of the things that I ran into when I was trying to rebuild the engine, or as I am trying to put the engine back together from finding out the timing chain was broke, I can't get the oil pan off. It is too close to the saddle in the front suspension. So, you know, trying to get that oil pan off the bottom just didn't work. Tried to jack it up, and the transmission actually interfered with a cross member on the frame here, and I couldn't get it up high. Well, luckily, as I'm redoing the interior, as you can see, there was a piece of angled aluminum that went across up here. And as you can see here, this is actually where it was interfering. But that piece of angled aluminum was just bolted in. So as I took off the subfloor, I was able to pull that piece of angled aluminum out, and lo and behold, then that gave me enough room to get below the engine, jack it up, and I'll show you another angle of that, jack it up and get that oil pan off. So now I can put the timing chain set back on, a new one, obviously, not the same broken one, and get that oil pan back up on there and be good to go without removing the entire engine. So that's one thing that I've learned that I hadn't seen anywhere else. Maybe you can use it, maybe you can't. And then some other stuff, just, you know, it's probably basic Airstream things, but some of the details of the renovation I wasn't finding online. So I hope to do some of that. Another thing, the C channel, the mysterious, to me, C channel. Now, I didn't find a diagram. I didn't look super hard. I was looking around. How do you take the subfloor out? Can I do it without taking the shell off? And a lot of people were really, you know, talking about the C channel. C channel. It's like, what on earth is the C channel? You know, I understood C channel, made sense, but you know, not knowing how it was oriented. But yeah, here it is. The C. It's more like a U channel from what I'm seeing, unless there's something under here. But anyway, as you can see, my subfloor was rotten to the core on these front corners anyway, and I'm sure there are other soft spots. But yeah, I was able to easily just get it out of here. Unless, you know, here between this piece and this piece, that's the C channel. I'm not sure. Somebody maybe will tell me. But then, yeah, it's actually bolted down. The subfloor is bolted through this piece into the next piece, which is not too hard to get out if somebody else hadn't broken the tops of those bolts off. That's a bolt. And there's a bolt. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get those off or out and get this last piece of subfloor out for this section and then move on. This just looks like subfloor, right? Well, it is, but it is on top of the old original subfloor. So here is frame, original subfloor, second layer of subfloor. So, you know, until you really start to dig it into it, and maybe somebody else knows better and they would have seen this before I did, now I've got to get this second layer subfloor off, which is going to be rather difficult to do here. I guess I'll just have to cut it and pry it up. But they had a hardwood floor glued down on top of it, so now all the screw holes are just filled in with glue. So you have no access to that. So that'll be fun, I'm sure. But we'll figure it out. Another piece of this is where both layers of the subfloor just rotted through. I assume that this is where the refrigerator had some sort of condensation drain, and instead of it actually draining somewhere, it just rotted through all that. Nasty. But we'll get it fixed. And then, as you can see, just kind of the rest of what I've got to work with so far. More to take out, and I think the more that I am diving into this, now that I see that I have to take the subfloor out, that to do it right, I need to put a new subfloor in. Well, to take the subfloor out, you've got to take the interior skins off. And, well, when the previous, whichever owner, did a rebuild on this, they basically, when they put the second layer of subfloor on, they had to move everything up that was mounted to the skins. So now there's twice as many holes in these skins, which to me makes them almost unrepairable, or why even mess with it? You know, put some new skins on, start over. And, you know, if I'm that far into it, don't put the old skins back up. Put new ones up and just make this thing right. I really want to make the most off-grid Airstream or motorhome that you can make, I mean, for a reasonable price and still have reasonable living accommodations. Now, you know, that's sort of a pie-in-the-sky dream. You know, there's still, you know, I've got a propane tank that I'd have to have refilled, you know, a fresh water tank that has to be refilled, a black water tank that I suppose you become a slave to that, as well as, you know, electrical needs. So the gasoline engine, I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but the gasoline generator and engine of the coach, obviously. So I think the idea of off-grid really, unless you want to live like a Stone Age caveman, you have to have a connection to the grid. But what I hope to do is to lessen that connection, become less of a slave to 1, the dump station, 2, a fuel point, and 3, a water point. Now, getting fresh water might be easy. And once again, I don't know. I haven't been in a motorhome before, other than maybe just to walk in. But I have virtually no experience in one. But it seemed like something that was going to fit for what I hope to do. And what I hope to do is live in it. So what I want to do is I want to downsize. My brain just feels better in a small space. I'm a sailor, which is part of the ultimate goal. I want to spend more time doing that. So to do that, living in Central Illinois means that I have to leave Central Illinois, and my boat is currently up on Lake Michigan on the Bay of Green Bay, which is absolutely fantastic sailing. Short season though, but I just want to do it more. So to do it more, I need to save money to break ties from what is the 9-to-5 grind that most of us are stuck doing. And to save money, brings me to this.
There's a better angle. She's a beast. Can't wait.
I can live in this. I can explore in this. It's sort of the land-based version of a sailboat. You know, self-contained, go where I want, boondock, or in sailing terms, anchor out somewhere and enjoy what you see around you. Yeah, that's where I want to go. That's what I want to do. Gosh, and I really hope that this thing is still recording me. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, if you want to see more, stick around. I'm probably going to do a lot of really wacky things in a lot of, you know, real RVers' minds. But I've got a blank slate. I like to do things differently. I want to make this off-grid. I'm not concerned about resale, which I think a lot of people do a lot of their renovations based on that. I want to make this awesome for me and work for my use. So thank you, and thanks for watching.
And if you're wondering, how did you get that giant Class A motorhome pulled all the way up without it running to the front of your garage? Well, the answer is this really ridiculously awesome Alice Chalmers lawn tractor. Now, nobody probably noticed this, but there is no fuel tank, and currently I don't have it hooked up because I have that propane tank in my motorhome, but surprisingly, this thing runs on propane. It was simple to do. The carburetor was all warped, which I guess happens a lot on these Briggs motors, old Briggs motors, but that style carburetor anyway. And I sealed it up, put the propane line up through the bottom, and with that regulator, I've got a throttle. And gosh, you wouldn't think that it runs, but this is the third summer that I've used it like that, and it just keeps going. I think it'll blow up, and then, you know, I'll repower it, but that thing is a beast.